Hi, Anti-Society! Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we're getting into Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 22, getting very close to the end of this season, and look, we ended off on a bit of a stressful note because we were like this close to a reconnection between Thorfinn and Canute, but Canute was like, no, don't want to see it, which I get because everything that went down the last time that Thorfinn was around, not on the best terms, and also Canute's like dealing with some stuff right now. He's a king of a couple of kingdoms and is trying to take over this farm and all that. He's busy. He's got things going on. So he said no, and Thorfinn was like, the only clear, logical solution to that problem is to let someone hit me 100 times, and if I survive, then I get to talk to him. I'm not sure why we made that logical leap, but that's where we're at. Hopefully he lives. I'm assuming he does because there's more story and he's our protagonist, but whether or not that results in him actually being able to speak to Canute, who knows? Let's just get into the episode and I guess see him get beat up real bad. It's not gonna be good, is it? In 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, we're starting immediately with the intro. That means we're gonna be getting into stuff, isn't it? You know? It's like when you're getting close to the end of an episode and the credits start like being over top of the action. You're like, we're not taking a break for the outro. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking. Ooh, I hope I can speak. Turn this. I know what I'm gonna have to do when I have to wait for new episodes. I mean, I know that there's like source material that I could be like reading, but do we know if we're getting a season 3? I honestly don't know. I haven't looked up all of that. Look, I can't keep up with all of the anime releases anymore. As much as I could complain about when I got into anime and it was really difficult to get a hold of like literally anything, now there's too much and I can't keep up with it. So I just kind of have accepted that I'm going to be behind, with a few exceptions. I can pick like one show that I'm like, I can keep up with this while it's airing. The rest, I'm like, I'll figure it out as I go. Whoa. 16. Still. Taking 16 punches directly into the face. Like, oh. Weren't we supposed to have some kind of technique on how to take it? I guess he didn't get hit in the nose there, which is probably good. People are already losing bets. Still on his feet. Yeah, I'm like, he seems more tired than Thorfinn does. Is he gonna be able to hit him that many times? Yeah, he's kind of he's going with the momentum, right? So he doesn't like take the full force of it. He has to absorb the force from it. Mm-hmm. It's like one of the things that you learn in like martial arts, right? Is like one is like how to fall properly so that you don't like get hurt. And another one is like how to take a hit and not get hit, like have it hurt the least it possibly can. I say it with my minimum experience with martial arts. I found out that they weren't gonna let me like actually fight people, and I was like, what's the point? Ooh, it looks like he did get hit in the nose though. This is still using method, like violence is the method though. I hope not. I hope we come up with a better solution. I guess enduring is also a lesson. I don't know if simply enduring is the right way to live your life. Either. We kind of tried that when he was first a slave before he met Anna. Dang, Snake looks like he could use a vacation. Just Thorfinn. It's fine. He knows that Thorfinn could fight him back, though. Because Snake's fought him, and he's just like, dang, why does he's so skilled? Ooh, you didn't brace properly for that one. Or, I mean, you braced too much, maybe. "32 is crazy. They were supposed to. It is, yes, agreed. I don't know if I would call him soft-hearted, of all adjectives. I mean, he knows Canute, though. Sort of, kind of. He was there when his dad died. Or was horrifically beheaded. I don't know. It seems like you chose fighting first, right? Have we talked, really? I mean, he got up on his own. Yeah. Did we lose a tooth? Oh, we lost a couple. Why are we throwing shade? I mean, probably to anger him so he fights him again, right? True. This is like some of the most emotion we've seen from Thorfinn in a long time, though, so. I guess I'm on his side. I don't know if I want to encourage this behavior, though. He has to do it, though. I guess. I don't know. It wouldn't have been my choice if I had been refused an audience. The joy's gone from it, right? Like no one's cheering anymore. Like there's a certain respect there now, I think, for Thorfinn because he's endured this much for this long. He's unwilling to give up, right? Which is also, I think, some of the point is that like he's gonna get the respect if he can endure this and keep trying, right? Because they're all warriors, right? They're all fighters. So they can understand that. One more. Ooh, he just doesn't have it in him anymore. I mean, before they really like they ridiculed him, they didn't show any respect to Thorfinn because he was small and like meek to them and just a slave. But now he's like earned that, I think, from them. I was gonna say it looks like his mouth is all swollen from what we saw earlier. Are you gonna be able to talk? Do we think about that? Is he going to? I mean, Canute said he didn't want to. It's a good point. Finally have someone speaking on behalf of the people. I love the transition from like his swollen eye to like his eye that's fine. Like he can finally see clearly. Like he understands what his father was trying to teach him all the way back at like the beginning of the series when he's like, what is an actual warrior? Like what is a true warrior and what that represents. I'm kind of proud of him. I think this whole thing is stupid, but I understand to a certain extent. He's also a little crazy, but we'll get to that, maybe. Let's go. I need a reunion, even though I'm like, it's probably not gonna turn out well. Like, it's probably not gonna be good. Oh, we're bringing friends? Is that smart? Anna's not known to like control his temper. I love a whole mountain of them where he's just like, yes, this isn't the last one. This isn't the only one. Just the beginning. Let's go. Dang, they're like war drums too. In contrast to the fact that they're trying to negotiate peace and not war. Ugh. Just what's left of the farmers or soldiers on Canute's side. It feels like the farmers though, because they don't have like armor. And they were like collecting them, right? Because they were like, we need to figure out if Catila's here. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous shot. I mean, he said he didn't want to see him. Oh my god, they're so close. Oh, seeing the scar. Like POV from Thorfinn of like between the two of them. It's been a long time. Interesting to have like this space of like the shore, right? Like this space between sea and land, like these two different elements meeting, and then you have these two meeting with each other at this like sunset too, like this almost like dusk. These like two transitional places. I mean, that's one way to greet each other. Those are two of things that he's probably he's processed through. Yeah, there's some history. Oh yeah, Thorkel's gonna be so mad that you met up with Thorfinn and he wasn't there. Yeah. I guess it is like a bit of a test too. Like he's like, are you actually the Thorfinn that you claim to be? And the fact that he's like, I know how you got that scar is like a good indicator of that. They've both changed a lot. They've had to. Yeah, but you were just looking for an excuse. Interesting music score too. Interesting to have thief used again, because that's what Katil called them. And that's now what Thorfinn wants. Please be friends. Ooh, it's a little terrifying. The music is making it seem like this is not going to resolve itself. There's too much tension in it. Like I said, he's a little crazy, but like not a waterbender. Yeah, you don't control the elements. You're not a god. Okay, point. I guess that might be his point though. Like his father was like extremely power hungry, and he's like, it's so easy to push that to the point of madness. Interesting. Interesting take. And terribly cynical. I mean, it's cynical, but I kind of get it. He's like, there's like a systematic problem here, right? He's like, this is a warrior culture with people who believe in killing and pillaging and taking, and that has like a glory within it. How can you build a peaceful existence when that is the culture? Oh, good line of like to fight God, of like to rebel against, to defy what seems to be nature. Yeah, I'm like, Aena's not gonna like that we're saving Vikings. Stone cold. This is why I said, are we sure we want to bring him? I don't think that was a consideration. I mean, he could probably do some serious damage even with him being not in the best condition, but that's not going to be what he does. He seemed interested in the idea of saving the Vikings. He was like, I didn't even think of that. I also love that they were on opposite angles. Like we had the Dutch angle for the close-ups and they were opposing. Really cool going into like them having opposing goals with this meeting. Really dialogue heavy episode, which I always love because it always gives us lots of stuff, but it's also a little bit overwhelming because I feel like there's so much to unpack. After that, there are so many things within that conversation between Thorfinn and Canute, and I wanted this moment, and it wasn't what I was thinking it was going to be. I thought that there would be a lot more kind of baggage, and there definitely is. The beginning of them meeting together was definitely this feeling of, oh yeah, there's a few things that have gone down between these two, especially the last time that they saw each other. And it makes sense to me that Canute is the person who made Thorfinn a slave. That makes sense, but it never really clicked in my brain that it would have been like Canute personally. And I don't know if it is a direct thing. I feel like maybe they talked about it in some capacity at the end of the last season, and I just was reeling from other stuff by the time I got to this that maybe I didn't fully remember, but I'm like, it makes sense that his punishment for literally harming, drawing blood from a royal, the new king, would be death, and then Canute being like, I don't want him to be killed, therefore he has to be punished in some way, so his life is like forfeit to the crown, right? He then goes into slavery because of that, and I'm like, it didn't really click in my brain that there would be that strong of a connection, like direct connection between Canute and him. And I'm like, ooh, that does make things a little bit awkward, doesn't it? It's a little bit tricky to rebuild a friendship after they've made you a slave. I would assume. That has never been my experience, but I would assume that would put a few wrinkles in the relationship. But really interesting to dig more into the ideology of Canute specifically. I feel like we've gotten bits and pieces of it, obviously, in the moments where we've had episodes that are a little more centric to him and his story. But it's really interesting to have almost like this summary, like this more coherent, fully fleshed out version of it, of him proposing this idea. And I think that it's really interesting that a lot of this seems to be in defiance of what he defines as God. I think that it's interesting given Thorfinn kind of leaning more into that belief system like Christianity as opposed to the belief system that he grew up with, and leaning more into, I don't know if it's like Christianity specifically, but having a singular God as opposed to a pantheon is different from what he grew up with. And having then Canute in contrast to that, of his belief of almost this very different idea of what a god is and who the god is. And I think that it's really interesting to have these two opposing views of it, and yet they have the same end goal. Like, they want to find a place where there is actually peace. They want to stop war. They want to create a place that kind of deconstructs the society that they're in now, the systematic problems of this warrior culture and this endless cycle of war. And they want to deconstruct that so that when they find a place that could be prosperous and peaceful, that it is populated by a people who fundamentally do not want to start conflict and to have violence be the solution to their problems, right? Because right now, Vikings and the Norse very much is part of it, right? Everyone grows up wanting to become a warrior. Even Aena was like, I want to be a fighter in some way so that I can protect people that I care about. And that is very much in contrast to that vision of paradise, and coming at it from different sides, very well represented in like the visuals of this, like them being at like the shore, this meeting between the two elements at sunset, so these liminal time between day and night, having the different angles for them and the different lighting for them. Very interesting to have them very much put into these two kind of opposing sides, or two separate entities, and kind of meeting in this liminal space as they figure out what they're going to do. And I think it's fascinating how much Canute seems to very much believe in a god, and yet he also believes that all of the things, that the negativity, the awful, horrific things that are going on in the world are like by that god's design. And I think that that kind of goes into some of the theological issues that some people can have with the fact that there are bad things that happen in the world. So if you believe in a all-powerful, all-seeing God, then these awful, terrible things happening must be because that God has allowed it. And philosophy and theology and people of different religious backgrounds have tried to deconstruct that and argue that and discuss what that means in more detail. So I think that it's interesting to bring that into this series and have that be part of this ideology as they go forward. And Canute's very much seeing it as, I need to rebel against this god and make paradise despite the fact that this god seems to not want that, or that isn't the design that God has put forth. And Thorfinn being more of this, I don't know, accepting what the world is and trying to literally go with the punches and flow with it and stop resisting some of that impact, and instead find a way to, I don't know, be passive passive in the face of it. I'd have to dig more into it, go back through this episode and some of the episodes we still have to come, deconstruct that some more. And I'm sure that even for Thorfinn, he's still developing it as he goes, and he's still figuring things out. So it's not like it's this singular belief system that he's going to carry forth. It's something that is continuing to develop as he has more ideas and he meets new people and he hears their ideas and continues to grow as a person, because he's been so closed off for so long and he's still very young. So the mixture of those two things mean that he's just in this place of very exponential growth in terms of his own ideologies and belief systems, that it's fascinating to have that be such a key part to this season, especially given what's at stake and some of the combat that could result of that. I guess we'll have to see if Canute and Thorfinn can come to some kind of agreement, some kind of truce between them, because Thorfinn very much does not want to fight his way through this or to kill Canute. He has his whole no violence thing, but it does go against what he was talking before about how I just met you, I have no reason to hate you. I'm like, you do know Canute though, and you do have some reasons to not like him very much. I guess we'll have to see how that sorts itself out in the next couple of episodes. I really don't know, but I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this place, you can see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to this next time I post a Vinland Saga reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.